So in the previous video, we have discussed what is preprocessor, how to use that thing, what preprocessing means, what is the meaning of that symbol hash we use in every program, like hash include str.h, hash include string.h. So what is this hash symbol? What is preprocessing? Right, the functioning of that thing, and what is hash include, that preprocessor command. There are many preprocessor command. One command we have discussed in previous video, that is hash include. What does that mean exactly? What is the meaning of hash include command, and in how many ways we can use that command? In two ways, to include something, right? The file from a standard library, or you can say from a local directory. So those things we have discussed everything in the previous videos with the help of proper example. Now next preprocessor commands are hash define and hash undo. So these are to, you can say, define a macro or defining constant. Now how we will use this thing? This is to undefine that thing, the macro. But how you will use this thing in your program? That thing we'll discuss in this video. I'll show you a program also, practical also I'll show you, and all the important points about these two preprocessor commands we will discuss in this video. Now let's see what is this hash define and hash undo. In one of my previous videos, I have told you like hash define is used to define constants. Using const keyword also we can define constant, and using hash define also, this command also we can define constant. Like what you can define? The example is, you can write hash define simply. You can suppose I am writing here a constant a, and the value of this is 10. Please don't put any semicolon after this hash define line. This is general mistake students do. You have to remember this thing. Now whenever in a program I will use this a, that would be replaced by this 10. Now in main function, suppose I am writing here another variable int x. I am writing x is equal to a. If you don't define this constant here, this is not possible, because the right side there should be a constant, right, integer constant. But we have already defined this constant, the value would be 10. So this would be replaced by 10 before compilation in the pre-processing phase, right? Because pre-processing comes before compilation. It's a step in compilation. So now whenever you will print like printf and %d, and you will print x, so it will print value 10. So this is how you can define constant using this, right? Or another thing what you can define, like generally whatever you will write after this hash define this thing, this is known as macro, right? Now one more example, suppose we are writing here like pi 3.14, I think 1, 5 and 8 or 9, something like this. Let me write down 9 here. The value of pi is this. Here I am defining this macro. This is known as macro name, and this is the value, or you can say the character sequence here we can write. This is macro name and this is character sequence. It's not like that here you can write only the integer value. You can also print a string also. This also I'll show you one example. Now let us discuss this example first. Suppose we have taken this thing in hash define pi and this. Now whenever in our program we use this pi, that would be replaced with this thing during the pre-processor phase only. This is to define macro. This is how we can use this hash define to define macros, or you can say to define pre-processor variables. This is what pre-processor variable also you can call it, right? Now how you can use this thing? Suppose we are writing int radius, area of a circle we are printing, so we are going to calculate. So suppose I am taking at compile time only int r is equal to 5, and in printf I am just writing area of circle is, I am just writing %f and pi into r, pi r square. This is the formula I guess, right? Return 0. So this at the time of pre-processing only, when you will compile, pre-processing would be done, and this whatever the line which are beginning with hash, that would be processed by the preprocessor program, right? So if preprocessor say this thing hash define, it means we are defining a macro. It means whenever in a program we are writing this pi, that would be replaced with 3.14159. Now compiler will see this value, not pi value, right? So this is what the role of hash define. One. So here suppose at many places we are using this pi in a program, 5, 10, 15 places. So rather than writing this value 10 times in your program, better to use this small name pi. It is better to understand, readability would be more, right? And we don't need to write this value 3.1415 again and again. Just write down pi, right? So this, you can say, this task would be more, you can say, efficient for us guys if we define a macro something like this. Now if you don't write here this character sequence, I want to print a message like hash define. I'm printing the macro name msg message and just printing like Jenny's lectures. Suppose the name of my channel, complete name, CSIT net and JRF, this thing. So this message, suppose I want to print 10 times in my program, 10 times or 15 times, suppose 10 times. So rather than writing this complete long message 10 times, better to write down this thing, better to define this hash define msg. Now why I am writing this msg like in caps? It, as you can say, a rule. It would be recommended. It's not like that if I write msg in small letter that would give error, no. But it is, you can say, specific, you can say it's a rule for better understanding of the program. Because generally when we define variables, see, we take small letters, and if by default, suppose here also I have defined a constant and I am using r and 10. So this would be, this r would be replaced by this 10, 10 is equal to 5, it will give error. And if I write here capital letter, then it would be fine, right? The compiler, the preprocessor would not be confused in this thing, right? So better to use caps while you write macro name, because generally in variables we use small letters. So just to avoid the confusion, we use capital letters. So simply how you can print this thing? You can write printf %s and msg. That's it. It will print Jenny's lecture, CSIT net and JR. This msg, whenever we use in a program this msg, that would be replaced with this character sequence. So this can be a you can say this constant integer value or a string value also. Fine. So this is how you can use this hash define just to define a variable or this type of messages or constant. Now another thing is you can also define function, macro. You can say functions, macros sometimes acts like functions also. Now how you can do that thing? See, suppose here I want to define a function product or multiply, mul I am writing for multiplication, and a and b, two variables I am going to pass, and just I am defining it a into b. That's it, no semicolon here, remember this thing. Now in our program we are writing something like this, like printf %d, or you can say multiplication is %d, and I'm just writing here mul and I'm passing 2, 3. So it is what? Now we are defining the macro, but this will act as a function. So whenever we will use this line in the program like mul 2 into 3, I am passing the value. So this would be replaced by a into b. A into b means now a value is 2 and 3. So this would be replaced by 2 into 3. Now 2 into 3 means 6, it will print 6. During the pre-processing phase it will replace this thing. So this is what, obviously this is a function calling. We can just define a function mul and we can call that, but it is faster than that thing, because during pre-processing phase only this would be replaced. And if we define another function, then during the compilation, then it will call the function, then return from that function, and all these things would happen. But here no such kind of thing will happen, right? Before compilation only it would be replaced directly 2 into 3, and directly compiler will give you output 6. So it is faster, right? So this small function, if you want to write down, then rather than just defining function, giving prototype of that function, calling that function, use macro. You can use macro also, right? Now one thing is what you have to take care, one thing, like if this here I am passing not 2 into 3, I am passing here this 5 minus 2, 7 plus 4. This also we can pass. So maybe you will think A is what? 5 minus 2 means A is 3 and B is 7 plus 4, that is 11. So it will give 33 output, right? No, this thing you need to take care. See, first the expansion, the substitution would be done. After that, evaluation of the expression would be done. So first thing is what I am saying. Let me just clear this thing first. So first thing, what would be done at the place of this? Yeah, obviously A is what? 5 minus 2. This would be replaced A into B, because this means we have defined it something like this, A into B. So at the place of this, A into B would be replaced. Now A is 5 minus 2, B is 7 plus 4. So what would be replaced here? 5 minus 2 is A into 7 plus 4. So this would be the expression. First expansion, or you can say the substitution. After that, evaluation. Now we are going to evaluate according to the BODMAS rule. Now this multiplication would be evaluated first. So that would be 5 minus 14 plus 4. Now this value becomes 9 minus 14, that is minus 5. So the output would be minus 5, not 33. This is important point here, you need to take care, right? Now rather than this, you can also write multiple lines, but you have to use that slash. Like suppose I am writing here maximum of A and B, right? Now here we will check if A greater than B, just a slash. In another line you can write printf A is maximum, semicolon. You will use semicolon obviously after this printf, right? Then slash, else, then slash, then printf B is maximum. No slash after this last line. You can write down multiple lines, something like this, right? Now here if I pass max, and if I pass here 5, 6. Now what output you will get? Simply it will print max AB. So this would be replaced with this thing. So AB is 5 and 6. So 5 greater than 6? No. So else it will print B is maximum. Obviously B is maximum. If you want to print the value also, like 6 is maximum, then what you can say? See this A and B would not be replaced. One more important point about this thing, this A and B would not be replaced by 5 and 6. Only this A and B would be replaced with the values. Why so? Because this A and B we are writing in double quotes. So if this thing is written in double quotes, that would not be replaced with these values. If you want to replace it, then you can write down here percentage D is maximum, and after that you can print A. Percentage D is maximum, after that you can print B. Now this A is outside of this double quote, so this would be replaced with 5, this would be replaced with 6, right? Here. And this, see, this substitution would be done here only, not here, because max A and B, this is the definition you can say of this macro. So macro, this I am using here. So this at this place, this complete code would be substituted here. Don't get like confused. This would be same here and this A would be replaced here. First of all, this code would be replaced here. This is, you can say, would be expanded source code. .IX file would be created, and after that compiler will compile this thing here. This code would be copied here, or you can say substituted here at the place of this thing, right? Now here only this changes would be done. Now it will print 6 is maximum, right? So if the value is written within double quotes, that would not be replaced with the this macro. Fine. Now I think that is it about hash define. I have told you every point. You can just write down these important points I have told you, right? Now how to use this undefine? If you want to undefine the macro which we have defined using hash define, then you can use hash under. Now I want to undefine this one. So after this you can add hash undef, just write down the macro name max, no semicolon here. And after, if this undef function you want to write down printf %d and max, again you want to use 11 and 6, it will give error, undefined reference to this max, because we have undefined this macro at this point. So after this point you cannot use this max, it would not be recognized. If you don't undefine, then it would be fine. So it is just to undefine the macro you have defined, right? Let me just write down the program here and show you. Okay, so let's create a new file. Define macro. I'm just writing the name define macro. Hash include stdio.h, and first of all we'll define a constant, hash define a and 10, right? Now in main we will take int x is equal to a and simply print x %d, and you will simply print the value of this x, right? Return 0, and let me save it and let me just run this and show you what output you will get. It should print 10, because whenever we use in program a, that will be replaced with this 10, right? So x is equal to 10 and it would print 10, right? So this is how you can use to define constant. Or another program you can write down yourself. We use here pi, the value of pi, and you can calculate area of the circle, pi r square. That is for your assignment, you have to do that program. I am just taking another example. There I am taking a function that we have taken multiple function. So a comma b, and just I am writing a into b, that is it. Now at this point of time just I am writing printf and writing multiplication is %d, and just calling the function, and I am simply passing 5, 2. That is it, right? So now what output you will get? This time also you will get 10. See, the multiplication is 10, because this mul52 would be replaced by 5 into 2, a into b, that is a is 5, b is 2, 5 into 2, that is 10. Now this point of time, same example we will take. Here we are taking 5 minus 2, 7 plus 4. This time what you will get? Minus 5. See, multiplication is minus 5, not 33, right? Now another example what we can take, like we want to calculate max and a comma b. Here I am writing if a greater than b, sorry, simply write, okay, after this line we write this thing, fine, and after that I am just printing printf a is maximum, semicolon. After printf put semicolon, otherwise it will give error. Then next line is else, same for next line. If you want to go move to next line, the slash, then printf b is maximum, no slash after the last line, right? Simply now int main, and we are calling here, we are not printing anything, we are simply calling this one max and 3, 4, semicolon. That is it. Let us run this and see what output you will get. See, b is maximum because 4 is b. Now this a and b would not be replaced, right? So if you want to replace, if you want to print the value, then you have to use here %d, and after that we simply print a and rather than this B, percentage D, and we simply print B. Now let me just run this and show you. Now this time it will print 4 is maximum. So the main motto is just to show you, like you can write down here multiple line also. How to you write down? Just use this slash. Now if you want to undefine this, let's write down here hash undef and max, and after this line again I am going to call max 5, 4. I don't know it is right or no, let me just here would be comma and max would be obviously capital MAX. Now at this point of time we have undefined this max at this point of time, and after undefining I want to access max, I want to access this macro. So just run this and see. Okay, it is giving error. Implicit declaration of function max. See, it would consider it as a now normal function, not a macro. Fine. Undefined reference to max. Fine. Because we have undefined this one. If we remove this line and now we are using this again max 5, 4, then what it will print? First, for first macro, for this calling 4 is maximum, for second 5 is maximum. So both are working now. See, I have shown you. If you want to undefine, simply write undef, only the name of that macro max, that's it, no semicolon, nothing else. So this is how we can use hash define and hash undefine macros. So that is it about hash define and hash undefine macro. Now we have some predefined macros also and some other preprocessor commands. Those commands we will discuss in the next video. So now in the next video, till then, bye bye, take care.